Rapaport's Reality. My name is Michael Rapaport. My wife, co-host, the star of the show, she couldn't be here. We have an interview, a special, super duper interview with the number one guy, star of The Valley Season 2, star of Vanderpump Rules, reality TV royalty icon, Jax Taylor. Jax Taylor is with me. Again, Kebe couldn't make this episode. Jax Taylor is with me, Rapaport's Reality, talking about all things going on in his world, the highs, the lows, the history, the craziness. Episode 2, which was probably the darkest episode of reality TV on Bravo in the history of Bravo. It's a great interview coming up next with Jax Taylor, the number one guy, Valley Season 2. You got to watch it. You got to listen. Stay with me. All right, 3, 2, 1. Rapaport's Reality. My name is Michael Rapaport, and we have actually our very first guest, and we couldn't have a more exciting guest. The number one guy in the group. It's certified, it's platinum, it's iconic. The number one guy in the group, Jax Taylor, who is the host of the Mind of Jax podcast and who is currently starring in season 2 of The Valley. Jax Taylor, I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Man, I've been waiting to be on your podcast for a very, very long time. I'm a huge fan of yours as well. Man, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on, especially with all the craziness that I know is going on in your world, in your life with the show. And I know like the show was recorded months ago and things change and you evolve in your relationship. And I'm just going to jump into it. First of all, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm a fan of reality TV. I'm a fan of yours. And even though sometimes people might view you as the bad guy, you were on Villains, or the instigator, or all sorts of things that you've heard over the years, I'm going to tell you that you are one of the greatest reality TV personalities of all time because love it, hate it, offended by it, upset by it, you have kept it real for better or for worse the whole time. And I get offended when people shit on reality stars that keep it real, even if it's not clean, because you're doing it essentially for all of our entertainment.
I don't want to interrupt you here, but do you want us to sit around and braid each other's hair all day long? Or do you want to have entertainment? You know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Do you want us to make good TV to entertain you, to take away from your workday? Or do you want us to sit in the corner and get canceled? Make up your mind, because you can't make anybody happy. If you're too crazy, people say, oh my God, he's too crazy, get him off the show. If you're boring, people say, I don't want to watch this anyway, it's boring. It's like you can't fucking win.
You can't fucking win. Since you've been doing it for so long, how many years ago was the first year that you shot Vanderpump Rules?
So I've been on TV 14 years now, so 14 years prior to this. So yeah,
okay, so you're a veteran. So
yeah.
How much more conscious are you of what you're doing, how it's going to show up, how it's going to be edited than now, obviously being a veteran that you are, than when you first started?
It's night and day. You know, the game has changed. As you know, the world has changed. You could get away with a lot more back in the day when we started. You know, they're really, you know, you didn't have to hold back, basically. You know, you got to be a little bit more mindful now. Obviously, times have changed, and as they should have, they should change. You know, there's things that shouldn't be tolerated anymore. So you have to be very mindful. You know, you're trying to be mindful, but you're also trying to make good TV, and you're also just trying to watch what you're doing, make good TV, not disappoint anybody, not be disrespectful, but you're still caught in a scene that you got to get your point across and your anger or whatever, but you got to be mindful. It's really hard now. It is really, really hard because you want to give a good product. You know, you want the fans to see a good product. And I've been a certain way for so long. You want to call me the villain or whatever, but at the end of the day, I think I say what's on my mind. I really don't have a filter. I don't really hold back. And I never really have. You know, the last thing in the world I want right now is for people to see what they're seeing on TV. I mean, that's how you know our show is authentic, because if I could take away something right now, it would be what you watched last week. That was pretty much as close to rock bottom as you can possibly get. And I'm so ashamed of this. I knew this episode was coming out. I've been waiting for months and months and months for that last episode to come out. Was very nervous about it, was scared about it. But you know what? I have to think of the silver lining here. Not many people get to relive what they saw and be like, wow, I was a very bad person there. I worked so hard on myself to get to where I'm at today that I can look back and be like, I never want to be that again. You know, it's kind of a reminder of that's who you used to be. I don't even recognize that person anymore. It was a shell of a human being. It's disgusting. It's disgusting how I acted. Now, were my feelings warranted? Absolutely. I was 100% was upset, and I had every right to be upset. It's how I handled it was wrong.
I hear you, and I agree. And what you have done on the 14 years of being on TV is not a normal thing. To have these pivotal years sort of growing up in front of the camera is crazy. To have, you know, being a single guy, a bartender just kind of finding his way into, you know, all the fighting and the yelling and the screaming and the highs and the lows and the, you know, the cheating and all the shit. When you look back at it, you know, like for me, when I think of things that I regret, they're in my memory. They're not on like a full episode of the shows. When you look back or you see or, you know, catch clips of Vanderpump Rules or people come up to you and all that stuff, like, does it rattle you? Like, because you could see it in 4K, like all the mistakes that you've made, all the good things too, but the mistakes that you made specifically because your character on the shows, because I call it a character. I know it's you, but it is a character. Like, is it hard to sort of see them? And because, like I said, that's not a normal thing. Most people, it's like in our memories, and yours is like you could watch it over and over and over.
I'm probably maybe the only cast member that doesn't watch. I don't watch the show. I've watched, you know, in all honesty, I've maybe watched one or two episodes. And
Vanderpump Rules?
Yeah, I don't watch myself. I haven't watched myself. Are you
serious?
I didn't watch myself on House of Villains. I didn't watch myself when Jax and Brittany take Kentucky, and I didn't watch myself on why? Look, why do you think? Look, I mean, look at the shit that I did. It's embarrassing, and you know, I'm ashamed of it, and I don't want to relive that. And I catch enough on social media of what I've done and reminded of what I've done. I get the clips, I see the teasers, I see the memes and all that bullshit. That's enough for me. And I'm not going to put myself through that hell again. Like, why would I want to relive that twice?
Right, I hear you. You know, my wife and I, we were talking about episode 2 of The Valley, season 2. And, you know, this show in particular is different from any Bravo show. It's fucking dark. It's dark. And that episode was, in my opinion, and I'm an expert, in my opinion, it might have been the darkest episode of reality TV on Bravo, knowing that it was coming and knowing that it was filmed months ago and knowing that you've, you know, been open about, you know, where you were and where you are. And you mentioned, like, you know, bracing yourself for inevitably this episode too. What were you doing when that episode aired? Did you watch it? I know you do viewing parties. Like, what do you do when that comes? Are you just like fucking at home, like waiting for the emails and the texts to come in? How do you handle that shit?
Normally I just go about my day. I don't really pay attention. The last 14 years, I don't pay attention to it unless I have a watch party or something like that at my bar. You know, I'll be running around or whatever. For last week's episode, I knew how bad it was going to be. I knew. Like I said, I've gotten ideas of what the episodes are going to be like. And I knew out of the 14 years of me being on TV that this was going to be the darkest episode of my life. You know, you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. I can only look back at that and say, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm disgusted with myself. I was in a very, 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 very bad place. I can't stress you enough. Between the drugs, the alcohol, the divorce, the bipolar, the OCD. I mean, I was going through a lot, and I'm not using this as a reason to, you know, make my actions better, because my actions weren't okay. But just keep in mind, I was on a lot of things while I was going through this and going through a divorce and finding out that my wife was hooking up with one of my best friends. You know, it was just, I saw red. I saw red when I found this out. And when you see pictures of your wife, naked pictures of your wife sending to your friend, when you see text messages going out that are just, after being with somebody for 10 years, it hurt me. Did I push her away? Absolutely. It was 100% my fault. But I just, I couldn't handle it, man. I was a bull who saw red, and I was just on one, and I couldn't be stopped. That's the best way I can put it. I was spiraling out of control, and nobody could stop me. Nobody. And I just kept doing more drugs. I kept drinking more. I sat in my house because Brittany left. I did more drugs. I did more drinking. I did more going out. I was erratic. I was erratic with myself, with other girls. I was, what else? I mean, I can't even, it was just an utter disaster. And I stopped paying my mortgage. I did everything. I just wanted it to end. I just wanted it to end. I was not, this is the first time that I'm saying this. Like, I was very close to just calling it a day. I was so at the bottom of my barrel, and I'd never been there before. I've had some rough seasons on Vanderpump. Okay, whatever, but this one,
The different stakes, though.
was different stakes. I have a child. I have a wife, and I just didn't want to be here anymore. I just thought, you know what? I just don't. There's nothing left to live for.
Yo, I told you this off camera. I'm older than you. I'm 55 years old. I've never had, drug drinking. That's not my thing. But I could certainly relate to the emotional issues. And I went through a divorce, and watching episode 2, season 2 of The Valley, that episode, it made me feel emotional because I'm not excusing you and all that shit, but I relate to it. And I truly wish and hope for you guys. And I've never met you. We've never done Watch What Happened. I've never even give you a pound. I've never seen you at BravoCon. But, as a fan, and, for better or for worse, I just wish you and Brittany peace with each other, because these are the mistakes that are really going to fucking hurt you. And I know you have a beautiful son that I know you want to be the best father for, and you want to have the best life for. And I really wish that for you guys, that just like, yo, if you're going to be together, cool. If you're not going to be together, walk away in peace, because otherwise you might as well there's no sense arguing. You're going to regret that shit more than anything else, arguing around the stuff for your beautiful little son. That'll be the worst thing.
I know. And that's you couldn't have said it right. The arguing and the fighting was getting to a point where, my son was around, and then I literally had a wake up call. And I could sit here and I can tell you, this is why I stopped doing what I do and I went to rehab. I'm not going to lie to you. My job was at stake. And once your job gets at stake, you fucking man up, and you got to go do what you got to do. Between my son and my job, that's why I went to rehab. That's why I went. I was like, listen, I got a wake up call here. And, when your job's at stake, you start to make some decisions. Like, I'm not going to last too much longer here. I'm upsetting people. And I'm not only upsetting my job, I might lose my job, but I have my son too, the bigger picture. But in that time, I was just so concerned about my job. I wasn't concerned about all the people that I was hurting, the big picture, and I was so just selfish, and all I cared about was me and me and me and what about me? And I didn't really realize all the hurt I was causing everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean my team, I mean Brittany, I mean my son, I mean my friends, putting my friends between a rock and a hard place, because most of my friends are married to Brittany's friends, right? So they come around me, they're like, Jax, we love you, but we got to be with our wives, and our wives want to be with Brittany. So I was putting people in really, really bad situations. I was putting myself in bad situations. I can't, it was just utterly disgusting behavior, and I'm utterly ashamed of myself of how I was. But I'm also, at the same time, very, very proud of myself to get to where I am right now.
Do you feel good now? Where are you right now? Like, where's your head at? Where are you at right now?
I'm getting there. I'm not going to say I'm better. I'm 57 days sober right now. Mm-hmm. I go to therapy every week. I go to AA 3 times a week. I got an amazing sponsor. I got on really good medication after I got out of rehab. I went to rehab twice. I went one time for 30 days, then I relapsed, and then I went back for 17 more days. And at the 17th day, I was like, you know what? I got this. And I got out. I left early, and, I've been good ever since. I suffer from bipolar disorder. So I finally, after 45 years of life, I finally got on some medication, it's really helped me. My anger issues were out of control. Like, not only did I have drinking and drug problems, I'm bipolar. I have severe anger issues where I have a very short fuse, and that runs in my family. When things aren't going my way, I get really, really upset. And ever since I've been on this new medication, I tell you what, my life has been so much better. I'm trying my hardest right now, to be a really good ex-husband to Brittany. I'm trying my hardest to be the best father that I can be. I feel like that's the only thing that I am right now is a good father. Everything else I'm shit at, but I'm going to get there again. But I just want Brittany to, be able to find her peace and to be happy. She's the mother of my child. If she wasn't the mother of my child, I guess, we wouldn't speak again and we would move on with our lives. But she's in my life for the rest of my life. So I want her to be happy. I don't want her to be worried about me or scared about me. I want her to be like, you know what? He was a piece of shit husband. I'll give him that. But you know what? He's a good person now and he's a good father and he's always there when Cruz and I need him. That's all I want. And that's what I'm working up towards. It's going to take time. I've done a lot of damage and I'm just trying to get to a good place. I'm really good right now. I've been really good, but I knew this episode 2 was coming and that last week really put me back in a bad place. I tried to stay away from the noise. I turn off all my comments on my social media. I haven't been on my social media because, that's where the anger can lie if you go into that. But, other than the episode 2, I'm really good. There's things that upset me. I got a lot of people that don't like me right now, and it's understandable.
In real life or in the show, in regards to the Valley, or like in real life, or both?
Both. I got a lot of people who don't like me right now, and that's okay. That's understandable. I just hope that people can be patient with me. And, I'm like a cat who hit his 9 lives. I hit my last one. I hit the last 8 when I was on Vanderpump, and season 2 of The Valley was my 9th live, and I bit them all. And I think I've gotten away with a lot over the years, and I think it was just time to pay my dues.
Well, I just wish you peace and the best, to be the best dad and the best ex-husband.
That's all I care about is just being a really good dad. I love my son more than anything in the world. And I just want, I'm a mile away from Brittany. I got a townhouse a mile away. I'm there whenever she needs me. If the baby or whatever, or the house needs something fixed or whatever, I'm always there taking care of her car, whatever she needs. Even though she doesn't like me very much right now, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because it makes me happy. I'm not looking for overnight. Oh, it's all better, because it's going to take some time, because I've done a lot of damage. I not only did damage to her, but I've done damage to myself. You got to remember, I've been using for 20 plus years and on and off. And it just got really bad the last year. And I hung it up, and I turned it off. But I realized that drugs and alcohol are a very small portion of my problems. I think my drug of choice is validation. I look for validation. I look for people to like me. I feel like I do things sometimes to make other people happy and not myself. I'm always worried of what people think of me. I'm a master manipulator at telling the half truth. I'm sick. I have a disease, and it's not an easy fix, and it's never going to be fixed. I just have to really, really work at it. But I'm very aware of what I've done. I take full accountability of everything that I've done, but it's going to take time. It's not a quick fix.
Well, I appreciate this honesty, Jax, and I want to pivot to a little bit more lighthearted, just shit talking, because like I said, I'm such a fan of the new show, although it's fucking dark. I think the Valley in general, not the show, the Valley, the place is dark. It's just a dark place. It can be bleak and lonely. I think that you've kept it real, for better or for worse, on the shows. Going into Vanderpump, if you kept it the realest, who kept it the fakest?
I don't want to get in trouble for saying this, and this is not a dig at this person. She just got away with it. I think Tom Sandoval and Ariana kind of skated through. Other than when I was on it, whatever. But when I was on it, I think they skated through. I think everybody, myself, Katie, Stassi, Kristen, we all put everything out there. Like, we literally put everything out there. We got eaten alive on social media, but we all put everything out there. And I think sometimes if I look back, and again, this is not a dig because it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah.
I think Tom and Ariana kind of came together and never aired out their dirty laundry. I think, they just skated by and just kind of got to poke, prod at everybody else's issues, and they never brought up their own issues, which kind of wasn't fair. When you sign up for reality TV, you sign up for the whole thing. And I mean, look, do you think honestly I want people to see what they're seeing right now? Like, the last thing I fucking want is for people to see what they just saw last week. Like, it was like I've been having panic attacks about it. So that's how like, this shit is real. Like, this is real shit. I put everything into this, and it's really, it fucks with you, man. It really, really does. And it angers me. And if you watch the old seasons of Vanderpump, man, I got eaten alive on a lot of episodes. I mean, I got eaten alive on more seasons than I did positive ones. But you know what? I put everything out there. I didn't have a filter, and I said what was on my mind. You either liked me or you didn't. I didn't give a fuck in those days. In those days, I didn't care. I was trying to make a good television show, and if I knew something, I was going to fucking say it. I didn't come together with my significant other and be like, okay, we're not going to talk about this. We're not going to do this. And I'm not going to skate by. So I did my job.
What did you think you were getting when you first got cast in Vanderpump Rules? First of all, remind me and remind the listeners, what were you doing in Los Angeles at the time? Like, what were your hopes and dreams when you were in Los Angeles? And then what did you think you were getting yourself into when Vanderpump Rules started?
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't have many hopes and dreams. I was working at SUR. I was in between. I was modeling full time. I was making a really good living modeling. And I didn't want to do it anymore. So I was 30 years old. I think I was 30 when I stopped. And then I was dating Stassi at the time. And she's like, what are you going to do now? You need to get a job or something. I'm like, I don't fucking know what to do with myself. She's like, why don't you come work and bartend at SUR, the restaurant I work at? And all my friends work there anyway. And I was like, okay, why not? Because I get to hang out there. I get to drink. I get to have fun. I get to be with my friends, make a little money until I figure out what I'm going to do. It was close to the house. I could walk there. I mean, this is a win-win. At least I'm not sitting around doing nothing until I figure out something. As you know, back in those days, actors, model, whatever, they bartended on the side until they got their gig. No different than me. I was working at SUR. You know, I got the call from the producer, Jax, we want to see you. Why don't you come in and, you know, meet the producers, you know how it goes, meet everybody. And I guess I sold them. And, you know, the rest is history. I was going to move back to Florida. That was my parents lived in Florida. And I was kind of like, you know what? I've been in LA for a long time. I'm going to get out of here, go get a real job in Florida and get out. And that was my plan. I actually had it all set up. And I decided to go on one more audition. And the rest is history.
Wow. And at the time, I mean, reality was a thing. It's certainly not what it is now.
It's not what it is now. No.
What did you think it was going to be? Were you like, oh, this is just a check? This is like some stupid thing that no one's going to see? Like, what did you think it was?
I think we struck gold. We were at the right time, the right place. You know, you got to give props to Lisa Vanderpump on this when she saw something here. And she saw the dynamic of the cast. And when I said this so many times, I say this on every podcast, you will never, ever, ever recreate the original Vanderpump Rules. It will never happen. Why? Because we were originally friends. We were friends for years and years prior to this. So they had an organic group of friends that we weren't casted. They weren't looking for people. We were all there. We just came in for a meeting. You know, so you're going to get an organic show. You're going to get whether or not the show was airing. All this was going on anyway. In fact, when we were not filming, they would get really upset. The producers and Bravo and all that. They're like, are they hanging out? Are they talking to each other? Because yeah, we all lived together. We were with each other every single day. We all dated each other. It was very incestuous. But then they would be like, no, you can't talk to him today. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I talk to him every day. Don't disrupt our lives because then it becomes fake, you know? So then they would add just more episodes because they knew we were hanging out so much and they just like, well, let's add more episodes. So it was so organic and so real and so like the camera guys would just show up and turn the cameras on. There was no, you got to go here, you got to do this. It wasn't like that at all. And I feel like you'll never, ever be able to create such a dynamic group of people again, such a core group of friends. Now, has the dynamic changed over the years, or the last 14 years? Yeah, we don't all see each other. Every life goes on. We all have kids, get married, move apart. But I tell you what, there's some people I don't talk to anymore, whatever. But I got a phone call tomorrow from Stassi, who I haven't talked to, from Bo, from Ariana. I would be there in a heartbeat. All things aside, how we ever feel for each other, if somebody needed me tomorrow, I would be there in a heartbeat. No problem. No questions asked.
Do you think that would ever happen where like you guys did, where they got the OGs, the whole crew, the best of Vanderpump, whether it's in a year or 2 years and like, yo, we're going to shoot for 2 weeks in, I don't know, fucking Hawaii, or we're going to, White Lotus it and go to Thailand and hash out old things, new things, you bring kids, Kristen Doty. Do you think that could happen?
Did you just crawl in my brain? Because I've already talked about this with Mr. Baskin already. And I'm like, I already see it. Like maybe between 2 and 5 years, you kind of bring everyone back and do exactly what you said. White Lotus it. Let's all go away for 2 weeks. Just film the shit out of it for 2 weeks and see what happens. I think it would be great just to see where everybody is to see everybody's relationships, who's grown, who hasn't, who has kids, whose kids are moving around. I think it would be a genius idea. And I honestly think it'll probably, I don't see it not happening, but it just depends on I think it's got to take at least, between 2 and 5 years. Let's take a little bit of break, what happened, and then let's revisit it. But I think it's a genius idea. It's a genius idea. Definitely. I like the idea of us going to an island somewhere and secluded and not any outside noise, because sometimes we get influenced, especially now since Vanderpump Rules in the Valley are so popular. It's kind of like, when the Kardashians got so busy, it was hard to film anywhere because people recognized, and it gets difficult. So I think putting us on an island, like a White Lotus type of thing, would be so awesome.
It would be. I think you guys need to do it. Listen, the fans, when they said that Vanderpump Rules was ending last year, I was like, no, the fucking thing needs to keep going until you're 87. Like when you fucking have your own bars and people are on fucking walkers. Like just keep film the whole. You've already filmed enough. Like keep fucking going.
I think I had mixed feelings about it. It's one of those things. I feel like they just had to close the book. Everybody's getting older. People are getting married. People are having kids. And that's kind of how I decided I wanted to do the Valley. It was during COVID when I said, hey, I want to come back to TV. And I called Alex Baskin. I said, hey, can you meet me somewhere? I have an idea. We sat in a hotel for 3 hours. It was a cold, wintry night. This is, again, right after COVID. I wasn't on TV. And I said, hey, listen, I took 2 years off. I was let go from Vanderpump, and now I'm like, hey, listen, I think it's time to come back to TV. I have this idea. Now, this idea was thrown around a lot, but no one ever took any action to do it. So I was like, I'm going to make this happen. So I said, hey, listen, I got a core group of friends here that I really hang out with, that I really like. We're all in the Valley now. We're all married, having kids, kind of starting the next chapter of our lives. I don't want to say we're housewives. We're not housewives yet, but we're not Vanderpump. We're kind of in that middle. We're kind of graduated from Vanderpump onto the next chapter, which whatever you want to call in the middle of Housewives and Vanderpump, something like that. So I was like, I have a core group of people, and the people that are on the show that people don't, other than myself, Brittany, and Kristen, people always want to know where they came from. They've always been around. They were always invited to the Vanderpump. Throughout the years, Vanderpump Rules, we would have parties, or they would have people at the bar or whatever. So all these people were always in the background of Vanderpump. They were always our friends. They just weren't casted on the show. So they kind of knew what was going on. They knew how to play the game. They're friends with all of us. They're in our group. And it just made sense. And I wanted to bring people on that I thought would fit this dynamic well. And I think we did a pretty good job. It was me, myself, my manager, Ryan, and Alex Baskin. We kind of, worked all this out, worked this magic, stirred it up, and kind of pitched it to the network. And, they loved it.
Yeah, well, it's heating up. And you talk about, they know the game, they know the drill, the revamp of Vanderpump Rules. If a 21-year-old kid who just got cast on a show that takes place in a bar in West Hollywood came up to be like, hey, man, I'm a bartender. I just got cast on this reality show.
How do
I handle it? What do I do?
I've already had
So
this
what
happen.
do you tell people?
So the new cast, there's a new cast of Vanderpump Rules. They recasted it, right? Well, I just so happen to know a couple of the guys. And, it's funny. I met two of them at the gym, and they came up to me and they said, hey, are you Jax? And yeah, we just want to let you know we're on the new show. We just want to shake your hand. You're an icon. People talk about you all the time. I'm like, thank you so much. I'm an old man now. These guys are half my age and now getting back into it. They're like, hey, do you have any suggestions for us on how to go through this world of what you guys created? I just said, listen, I'm just going to let you guys know right now, you're never going to beat or recreate Vanderpump Rules. It's not going to happen. And I'm saying this because I don't want you guys to try so hard to try to outdo what was done. You guys need to do what's good for you. You guys need to make this your show. Don't try to worry about if you're making them happy or trying to beat the other show. That's what I was trying to say to them. I don't know if that makes sense. You guys create your own project, create your own product, do what's good for you. The world was a very different place when we started Vanderpump Rules. What we did doesn't really work today. So the generations are different, times are different. You'll never be able to recreate that. So just do what's good for you. Be honest. That's me saying that out of all people. I should take my own fucking advice. Be honest, because you will never ever get away with a lie on reality TV. People know everything and things always come out. Be authentic. Don't overact. People who watch reality TV nowadays are very, very smart. They can see through the bullshit and just have fun. Have fun with it. I mean, people would kill to be in your shoes, would kill. You get to be like, I remember like Saved by the Bell. Remember Saved by the Bell? Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Remember the new class? Then they had the kid. You are now Vanderpump Rules, the new class. So take what, maybe watch Vanderpump a little bit, study it a little bit, and then make it your own, if that makes any sense.
I get it. But if they followed that up with how do I handle myself? Like you said, be real, be honest. You can't lie, all that stuff. Like, to me, it just seems like I watch the show so much and I've seen people sort of, they in hindsight, they go, well, I didn't come off that way, or I shouldn't have came off like this, and they didn't use this. Is that frustrating? Like, like in terms of like the tricks of the trade of it.
Well, again, I know how to do it. I'm because I've been doing this for 14 years. So I know in my head when I'm filming a scene, I know how they're going to, in my head, I think I know how they're going to play this out, right? I know.
Are you conscious when you're shooting now?
Well, now I am. I've been doing this for 14 years. Like I said, I'm aware of how this is going to play out. And we all are. The whole cast knows how we're all, like I said, we've been doing it for a long time. So we're automatically going to micromanage our brains. We automatically know how a scene is going to go. We automatically kind of can see how it's going to play out. It's not that we want to do it. It's just we're so programmed in it now. We were so taught, we're so like brainwashed on how things are going to work that it's easier for us to do. Now, the new cast, like when you're watching reality TV, if you watch any show, right, you want to come off good. But then sometimes you're so in your head about how you want to come off that you end up coming off like shit. And I don't, obviously over the years, I don't give a shit. Like I have no filter, and I feel like that was who I am. And people appreciated the fact that I called people out. Yeah, I lost a lot of friends. I lose a lot of this and that, but you always got authentic me. You always got no filter me. And I said what was on my mind, whether it hurt people or not. I was very authentic and I can always say that.
Well, you are authentic. You're the number one guy. You might not feel like the number one guy now. They can't take that away from you. It's an iconic moment. You're an iconic reality TV star. I wish you and Brittany peace, sincere peace. I wish you all good things and just to take care of yourself. Because like I said, I equate reality people, reality stars to fighters. You're out there, you're fucking giving it, you're taking it, and you keep coming back. And you have epitomized that, and Vanderpump Rules epitomized that. And the way the Valley is hashing out season 2, it epitomizes it. I mean, you said it yourself, who would have thought Kristen Doty would be the fucking voice of reason? And because she was so, but you guys keep coming, and whether we love you, hate you on the show, you give us the entertainment that we want. So I really, truly appreciate you, and I wish you nothing but the best, man.
I hope I get to meet you in person one of these days. I'm sure we'll cross paths, but I love your shirt, man. I really appreciate you having me on, and it means a lot to you and your wife who support me, and especially through this time right now. It's a real difficult time for Brittany and I, and we're going to come together. It'll be fine. It will work out. This too shall pass, is like everything else. I've worked really hard on myself, and I think eventually we're going to get to a good spot. I mean, we don't really have a choice. Our son is the number one thing, and he's the number one guy in the group. So
he's the number one guy in the fucking group, and I urge you to. That's all that matters, and I urge you to always remember that and take care of yourself. And I'm gonna do your podcast, and we will finally meet in real life and talk some shit. And wait a second, let me just ask you a question real quick. That's a Detroit shirt on, huh?
Yeah, I'm from Detroit.
Right. So I don't want to bring the conversation down. I know you're a sports guy. You got your sports bar. The Knicks are going to, by the time this airs, the Knicks are going to probably put you guys to sleep. I'm just going to say that to you right now.
Oh, the Pistons. Oh, you mean the Pistons? I don't really follow basketball. I'm a Lions guy. I think we're going to be good this year. Basketball, I don't follow that sport. I'm a hockey guy, hockey and football.
Okay.
But
okay. You don't need to follow it. I'm just letting you know that that's happening. And but by the time this airs and I do your podcast, that will have been a done deal. But I'm just letting you know.
All right. Hey, have you ever seen the documentary Malice at the Palace?
Awesome.
Were you there? That's where I graduated high school. I had my ceremony there. And the Palace of Auburn Hills is where we graduated. We had our ceremony. So I used to go to the Palace of Auburn Hills all the time. It was a very dangerous place, though. Dangerous.
I thought you were going to tell me Malice at the Palace. If you look in the 6th row, I was the guy that I thought you were going to go. I was going to be like, oh shit.
Oh, I've been to many games. Bill Lambier, Isaiah Thomas, Dumars. I've been to tons of games. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
All right, Jax. Yo, I'll be watching the Valley, be listening to your podcast, and I'll be on your podcast soon. I appreciate you taking the time, my man.
Thank you for having me, guys. Talk to you later.